Hello, my awesome friends. I hope you guys are doing really great today and finding some peace and goodness in your day. I am starting to feel a little bit better, thank goodness, slowly but surely, in all things. So that's always a positive, good thing. As I stated in my last couple of videos, going through, whether it be a cold or spiritual awakening stuff, and just life in general can be quite interesting, can't it? So I just went for a nice, beautiful, slow, peaceful walk down a path after getting a nice light workout in at the gym. Very light workout, but I got that in and that felt good after laying around for a couple of days. But I was walking down the path and the sun caught me and I just stood there for a minute and just truly kind of let it stop me in my tracks and just absorbed that and kind of felt grounded and felt that healing earth energy. And I walked and found a small corn cob with most of the corn missing and kind of walked with that, and I think I plucked off like 7 pieces of corn. The spiritual meaning of corn is actually abundance. So there's that. And I was walking down the path and ended up going off path over the hill and into the cornfield and kind of just stood there. Just kind of always amazes me how perfectly the rows are. You don't realize it until like you either drive past a field where you're above it to a point where you can see all the lines going straight down, or think about all the hard work that a farmer puts into his crops. Not only just that, but then the spiritual meaning behind that as well, right? When we plant a seed and we have to take care of it day and night, not so much prodding at it, but also being patient with it and letting it grow. And then we reap the abundance of all the growth at the end of that due season, right? We just have to be patient. One of my favorite quotes, I actually had a stamp that I would stamp on envelopes, and when I flipped the page of the new month on my calendar, the same quote was on the calendar, which kind of made me catch my breath for a second because I thought that was pretty great to me anyway. Adopt the pace of nature. Her secret is patience. But yeah, so I came out of the cornfield and walked a little bit and turned around and I had my moments, and another on my way back, I was standing there again and kind of just feeling the sun on my neck on my way back and standing there, and all of a sudden I just had this urge just to sit down, and most people might ignore those things, but I don't. So I was like, okay, even if I'm on the path where people might be passing me, I'm just gonna sit down. I sat down and put my hands on the ground, and it was a little too cool for taking my shoes off, but I could just feel like the earth's energy. I was just like giving back to the earth and thanking God for just everything that we have, are given to enjoy and to bring us peace. And I was receiving and giving back, receiving all it was there for me to receive today, and giving back gratefulness and just the love, and healing. But that made me think, I was thinking about you guys and how, even when we have challenging days or difficulties, we're just feeling, off. I'm here, just want to bring you a subtle reminder that that moment of peace, that moment's peace, that healing is always there for us at any moment when we choose to accept it. So I know sometimes it can be hard, and sometimes we can maybe go for a walk and we're just feeling whatever it may be, stressed out or whatever it may be, and sometimes it can be hard to shake, and I admit that. It can be hard to shake sometimes, but if you just give it a little bit of time, whatever it may be, maybe whether it's to sit in silence or to take our mind off of those things and not to focus so much on what's making us uncomfortable, but then just to take in and say, I accept this beauty around me. I accept this moment of peace that is always there for me. It's always there for me, no matter what. It is there for us, no matter what we're going through. No matter what we're going through, no matter how challenging, how big or how small, at any given moment, when we make the decision to choose to accept that peace, it is there for us. The goodness and the beauty and the healing in the energy around us, there's so much good available to us. We just have to make that decision to choose it, to just allow it. Doesn't mean our troubles or anything are non-existent anymore. It's just that they don't get to control us. And I was listening to a sermon or actually a speech or something, earlier today too. And I love how, I know it was Pastor Stephen Furtick from Elevation Church from North Carolina that I listen to. I've posted a lot about him. Or it may have been Jordan Peterson, which is a motivational speaker I love to listen to. But either way, talking about how we give credit to Satan or the devil, or negative energy when things go wrong. We give credit to, what did I do? The devil's after me, or whatever's after me, or but if we do that, then we're giving into that and choosing that to be, instead of looking at it and saying, this is a challenge I'm being given to serve a higher purpose. And sometimes God gives us those challenges. A lot of time, it's really in the way that we choose to look at it. But they were talking about how we give that credit to something negative instead of giving it to the credit to something positive, like that it may be something for our benefit, so we can learn something, or so we can change something, or so we can see something. Maybe we're in a situation in our life that we need to do something about, and the only way God, the universe, is getting our attention is by kind of, getting our attention, because the subtle ways maybe aren't working. So something has to get a little more intense for us sometimes, to wake up to maybe taking better care of our health, or a situation, or whatever it may be, even challenging situations that are out of our control. But if we choose to see what that maybe God is in control of that, and not so much the opposite. So it is definitely how we choose to see it, even if we don't like it sometimes. It's definitely better to find the positive in it than the negative, because the negative isn't going to do anything but to shatter our peace and to shake our balance and throw us off course. So, but yeah, just a little subtle reminder that whenever you need it, it's available to you. We don't have to go searching very far. It's always here. It's always here, always inside us. Even if it doesn't feel that way, and if it's if we can't find it there, then we can find it here, with God. And if we don't look or can't find it there, because that's not your path, you can go outside and find it there, anywhere we choose, So, well, that was my little tidbit. I am going to finish reading Gift of the Red Bird, Chapter 5. Well, Chapter 5 is actually a long chapter, so I don't know how much I'll get through, but I'm going to start reading Chapter 5 for you. Thank you so much for being here. I truly love you guys, and I hope you find peace and goodness in your day, or whenever you're watching this. morning, noon, or night, and in between. Bringing peace to you gives peace back to me. So sharing those things. So I hope they do good for you. So thank you for sharing with me. So I'm going to start reading chapter 5 of Gift of the Red Bird. See how far we get. For the rest of the 1980s, I explored. I experienced myself at midlife and Beth as a teenager. I studied the Bible, Western religions, Eastern religions, Native American traditions, and Judaism. I could not read quickly enough, and everything became a source of learning. I struggled with great sincerity to let my childhood ideas about God expand and grow up as I had. I had been taught that specific interpretations of God were the only ones which were correct. Yet God has already revealed himself to me far apart from those slim definitions. In many places where my religious programming insisted issues were black and white, I kept finding a great mystery. The old, narrow, and certain understandings were no longer big enough to contain this incredible, loving spirit. I began to ask myself how we could learn all the things God wanted to teach us if we limited our intake with fear. I saw fear everywhere. The common fear of having to think in a new way, fear of listening to other spiritual points of view, fear of new revelations about God that didn't fit comfortably with existing ideas and opinions. Could the God of all creation really only be capable of revealing himself to all people in one way? I thought a great deal about those disciples who responded when they heard the words of Jesus, "Come, follow me." I thought about them because I was hearing the same voice say the same words. The original followers didn't know where the voice would take them, and neither did I. And clearly, if fear had ruled them, they wouldn't have gone at all. I read about God as masculine, God as feminine, God speaking boldly, God in the stillness. God seemed to change or move each time I decided I understood too securely who he was. Increasingly, I saw the holy in the ordinary and the sacredness of all creation. Truth kept appearing in unexpected corners, and I was often moved to the point of tears by all I saw. I, who once wept in such desperate pain, was now weeping at all the beauty before my eyes. The love of God raced ahead of me, and I could hardly take in its depth and breadth. Still, for all I was seeing, I knew I was seeing only a fraction of what is there. I was getting a glimpse, a shadow. We all see through the glass darkly. September 1988, age 40. Today I picked up a book to read entitled The Quest. It intrigues me, especially this line. Grave mistakes that take place in life are made when a person does not follow his heart. When the heart is followed, we touch the Creator. It's really good. I'm not used to thinking of my heart as being so helpful or maybe necessary. The God of my childhood required sacrifice and the denial of feelings. But what if that dictate was misguided and needs to be expanded? Something inside knows that the case and that is time. Something inside knows that's the case and that it's time. Something calls me to get to the God of my maturity and let go and let the God of my childhood grow. Yesterday's mail brought a local adult education catalog, which describes an introductory talk and several evening classes for those interested in making a wilderness retreat. The experience will include a 3-day solo fast in the wilderness, which ends with a night-long vigil on the third evening. The fine print says this will appeal to those seeking guidance and inner vision through spending time alone with God in nature. Literally, it's a vision quest. I will at least go to the introductory talk. It's not that spending 3 days alone outside is the least bit appealing to me. It's that in spite of the fact, I feel very compelled by the idea. The introductory talk is tonight. All the way down the hall to the classroom, I ask myself, what are you doing here? But I keep walking. I want to grow. I want my knowing of God to grow. About 50 other people, mostly men, have already filled the room. Where are the women? It is the thought of 3 nights alone outside that keeps them away. Who am I kidding? I feel paralyzed by the thought myself. Plus, I hate to feel hungry, and I have never fasted before. Still, I am unable to leave my chair. As the teachers speak, it becomes clear that I am not alone in feeling fear. Even the men admit they are afraid. Many are skilled campers, and some have fasted before. But it is still different to intentionally go off alone and use a set amount of time and a particular place in order to look within yourself and just be alone with God. Outside. That's the killer. Outside. I listen to what is being said, but I don't know if I can do it. I will have to push past fears of the dark, the outdoors at night, insects, animals, hunger. This is a long list. How can I feel simultaneously drawn to be here and yet so afraid? Our homework assignment is to think yourself through a typical day. What things do you always do in the same way and at the same time? Things you do so regularly that you do them unconsciously. I start thinking about that. Nature is always changing, and the teacher said, but the same could not be said of me. I drive daily to the same store by the same route to purchase groceries. I don't even want to think about the sameness of most of those groceries. I also walk in the same park, using the same trail, even though there are many choices. It grows worse. I change bed linens on the same day. I eat the same few foods for breakfast. In fact, I eat breakfast whether I'm hungry or not. Suddenly, I see how much of my life is automatic and unthinking. With a universe of smells and tastes and roads to explore, I have this tiny routine. And because it is my routine, after a while I go through the day without seeing anything. I resolve to begin to open my eyes and pay attention. I will pretend I am a tourist in my everyday world. Within hours, I am aware of my blind spots, the people in groups whom I never see, the conversations and stories I never really hear, the fringe voices and fringe people. What a terrible awareness. I see how I scan my landscapes once, for the first time, but I never see differently in succeeding looks. I see what I noticed the first time and miss exactly what I missed. Making a conscious effort to see differently is quite an effort. I wonder, do thinking and emotions also take the same blind pathways and find their ruts? What would it take to see the world as brand new? Are there also pathways and ruts in the spiritual world? Well, if it's a new vision I'm seeking, I guess I've already had my first one. I see how I am lured by the security and comfort of my routine, the physical routine of how I do things and get places, but equally important, the emotional routine of who I've decided I am and how I've decided I'll always react to events. Safe in my little rut, I've become blind to the possibilities of my life. What ruts or routines or expectations of myself and others can I break? I need to look at how I spend my time on a daily basis, how I react when I'm upset, or frustrated, or angry. Maybe I need to let go of some of my ways so there will be room to let in something new. I'm distracted by a bird outside. There's a cardinal. That's really good right now. That high chirping they do, that chirp, 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 chirp. Is it a real high-pitched, like, clicking sound? I can hear that. That's so amazing to me. Oh, that's so good. Oh, where was I? Maybe I need to let go of some of the ways because they simply don't work for me. Human beings are so funny. We'll have first-hand evidence that a certain behavior doesn't bring us the desired results, but we'll never think of changing ourselves or trying something different. I'm so guilty of this. Tonight I read some thoughts written by Henry Nouwen. He says that the Latin word for obedience means to listen. He also suggests that God, as lover, calls us to unpredictable places. What meaning that holds for me as I buy a tent and air out a sleeping bag in preparation for my days away. Fear still dominates my mood. The class of 50 has been smaller each week. After each homework assignment, fast for half a day and keep a journal of your experience. Spend a day entirely alone being outside in nature for 12 hours. Fewer people return. As the last class there were 6 of us. I have avoided every homework assignment but the first one. I feel like a fraud, but I am too hungry to fast, too scared of nature, and very sure that being alone will be easy. I've been alone a lot. So I listen to everyone else's journal entries and save my experiences for the real thing. I know that this is pathetic, but it's the best I seem to be able to do. I read more Nouwen and am thinking hard about these lines. We make many attempts to establish the outer world as a safe haven, instead of finding a safe haven within us and bringing that to our outer world. That's good. I flip through a magazine and read that to hunt, I flip through a magazine and read that too. Hunt power. You must go into the woods in your own life. You must consciously avoid doing things you are comfortable with. You must break your routines. I may be studiously avoiding my preparations for this adventure, but life is presenting me with the issues whether I'm willing or not. That is just what I was talking about in the beginning of my video. And actually I made a post right before I made the video on my Facebook page saying, you already know what you know, go after something you don't understand. I think much of this journey will be about leaving my parents' vision, society's vision, everyone else's vision, and finding my own. So I'm going to stop there for now. I'll be picking up, we're still in chapter 5, so that was September 1988, and then I'm going to be reading winter of 1989. So chapter 5 of Gift of the Red Bird. Truly awesome and good. I hope you're enjoying that, and if you're listening to more than, I hope you're listening to more than one of the videos. I know. Well, anyway, I hope you're enjoying that, and that this evening is bringing you much peace and healing and goodness. I absorbed so much good healing energy today. Definitely sharing some of that with you. So thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for tuning in with me and watching my videos, and make them special for you. So it means so much to me when you watch them. So much peace and love and healing to you, and blessings to you and your family, your family's families, your children, your children's children. Hope everybody's finding some peace and stillness as the seasons change, letting go of the old, getting ready to spend some time hibernating a little bit in preparation for whatever next year is going to hold for us in our spring and our growing of ourselves, right? What old branches and leaves are we dropping now? As much as you don't realize, we're always if we're, as long as we're learning and moving forward a little bit in life, we're shedding off old parts of us and aspects. And, as we learn anything, even the simplest thing, learning the simplest thing changes who we are. We're no longer who we were if we learn something new. So we're always becoming someone new over and over again, which is truly cool. Well, I love you guys, and I know I will be seeing and talking to you soon. Peace and love.